The living victims of the brutal triple murders in Canyon City, and now the Folsom family is stepping forward, saying the governor's politics have played a huge role in getting justice for their murdered family members.
Despite the family begging the judge to consider the death penalty for Jacob Van Winkle, he decided on life in prison without parole. KRDO News Channel 13's Bonnie Silkman was in court with the family when the decision was made and brings us their story. New at noon. Good afternoon, Bonnie.
Good afternoon, John and Brittany. That's right. We were there when Jacob Van Winkle sat in the courtroom and said the word guilty 36 times, admitting to every single charge against him and deliberately and intentionally killing the Folsom family. Now, after going over the gruesome details of the rapes and murders, the rest of the Folsom family wants to know what's the point of having the death penalty in Colorado if it never happens. Despite emotional pleas from the victim's family,
they have effectively eliminated the death penalty without eliminating the death penalty.
The man who admits to brutally killing this mother and her 2 kids is facing life in prison without parole instead of the death penalty.
I feel as a failure of the Colorado State judicial system. I feel as if they do not process these types of criminals appropriately. I feel like if he was 300 miles south in Texas, he would be on an escalator to death row, and I think that's appropriate.
You heard the judge in there, we have to wait 20 years, and it might not happen by then anyway. Effectively eliminating the death penalty, even though the people voted it in.
The family thinks politics taking place far from the courtroom have a strong presence here in Canyon City and are to blame for the decision.
During the time that it took to meet with the DA to go through the details of these awful, gruesome sexual abuse and murders was the fact that Governor Hickenlooper's decision to delay Mr. Dunlap's case came up several times.
Mr. Stutler refers to the case of Nathan Dunlap, who was scheduled for Colorado's first execution in 15 years for killing 4 people at an Aurora restaurant in 1993. But months before the execution date, Governor Hickenlooper granted Dunlap a temporary reprieve.
It makes it so hard for them and handcuffs them to do what's proper. Mr. Ledoux properly thought he should be put to death.
District Attorney Tom Ledoux did say the governor's decision in the Dunlap case played a role in accepting the plea deal.
We have a governor that's doing the 2-step. He doesn't believe in the death penalty, but he does, so he just decides to delay it and try and pass it to the next election. That's horrible. You can't play politics with the death penalty. It's too serious.
Now, some of the victims' family did say they agree with the DA's decision of life in prison, but only because they want to avoid years and years of reliving these awful memories. In the end, the whole family seems to agree that the death sentence is suitable and life in prison will allow healing, but not justice. Jacob Van Winkle will be back in court at the end of September. Reporting live in the Newsplex, Bonnie Silkman, KRDO News Channel 13.
Bonnie, thank you. A gay